While Leah is the latest player in the Big Brother 26 house to cause some chaos in using her veto to save Angela, there's a lot to discuss with Leah's week here as the veto holder and playing the game. Either way you slice it, and I'm going to get into it, but I feel like this is the week we will either look back that Leah won the game or that Leah lost the game. She has been in this spot where she's, for at least 3 weeks now, well, about 2.5 weeks, she has finally been playing the game and been playing it as an excellent floater, always going to the HOH that is in power and being all up in their grill. And it's worked. She's done a good job as a floater. But now that she won the veto, it kind of puts the spotlight more on her. And on one hand, I think she likes the attention. But on a game level, it was a risk. It was a risk to do what she did today, which isn't a bad thing. We've seen what happened with Tucker. He was a very risky player. He had some rewards from those risks sometimes, but in the end, he went overboard and it was too much. We've also seen T-Core do stuff like what happened today, where, I know Twitter hated up on it, some of the stuff she did, but it's put her in an excellent spot where only Leah and T-Core are the last people to not be nominated and put up on the block. So social games working for T-Core and Leah. But with Leah, the fact that she did this to two of her most loyal people is where I have a question mark on the whole situation. Now, I will say, from an entertainment standpoint, I love the move of Leah using the veto on Angela because it does give us some more chaos. But on a game level, I am undecided on if I like it or hate it yet. First, let me give Angela a little bit of props because even though I am very tired of it, and even though to me it comes off so fake, her always being so emotional, so trying to get pity for her position that she constantly puts herself in, this is now twice now she's been able to use that to use someone to use the veto on her to take her off the block. And so on a social level, Angela has always threw away her game and killed her position. And now she's kind of in the spot where she's just playing for second place. But I guess let's give her a little bit of props for always being able to get a veto used on her with some of these saps in the house. Now, with Leah, like I said, Quinn and Joseph obsessed with her because they're simps for her. And last night, Leah was up in the HOH, even though she's the veto holder and not the HOH. She was holding one-on-ones. And I don't hate this because I do think that the veto holder should have one-on-ones, at least with the people on the block, if not some other people that might be up on the block of their renoms. That is something a veto holder should do, in my opinion. Now, Leah's approach, though, don't love it. It's already not great that she's been wearing that veto necklace all week most of the time. And I think for someone with the floater game, it's just not the smartest thing. Because now you are not only starting to show cards, which is hard for a floater to do, but it's kind of like putting too much of a spotlight on you. Like, hey, look at me. I'm the veto holder. But as I said, Leah loves the attention, so there's that. But also the approach of doing it in the HOH and kind of asking people or almost demanding people that they should have one-on-ones with you, just not the best approach. Now, I do like Leah trying to use this to get information. It's something Quinn didn't do that great of a job as HOH himself, but Leah tried to get information from people to kind of assess what she should do. I think this whole time, now that she used the veto, she always planned on using the veto, even though she continued to tell Quinn the opposite. And Quinn stayed up with her until the wee hours of the morning, like 6 a.m., to try and beg her at points to not use the veto. And Quinn was making a pretty strong argument, in my opinion, in that if Leah uses the veto on Angela, it can make people put Leah on the block against Angela at some point, and then Leah's going to go home because the longer Angela stays in the game, the more people are looking at her as someone they can drag to the end and beat. I thought Quinn saying that to Leah was accurate, and it seemed like that eventually got through to Leah, but then she does end up using the veto on Angela and taking her off the block. And so Quinn's renom is Joseph. And that's kind of another conundrum I have with the plot here from Leah, because that is Leah's other simp. So not only is Leah blowing up Quinn's game, who is the HOH, and Quinn did it to himself. I mean, Quinn put himself in this predicament again because Quinn has never learned in this game how to not suck. So Quinn's game, once again, being blown up is his own fault once again. But Leah, of course, was kind of the one that lit the match to blow up his game again. But I also feel like Leah has the potential to hurt her own game this week with Joseph being the renom, because there has been so many discussions about Joseph this week and how he's annoying people and how people wanted him up on the block. And if Joseph goes this week, I do think that hurts Leah's game in the long run, because not only does she lose a jury vote, even though that was her entire intention, was to gain Angela as a jury vote. If she loses Joseph, she then loses a jury vote, and it's kind of all for nothing, in my opinion, at that point. But lots of players, specifically MJ and Cam, seeing Joseph as becoming a player like Angela, a player that you can get to the end and beat. Joseph going around the past 2 days, dog on everybody else's game like an idiot, and trying to make his own game seem better than it actually is. Everyone sees that for what it is. They know Joseph hasn't done anything in this game. And now they're thinking we can keep Joseph around because we can beat him in the end too. And so if MJ, Cam, and Chelsea vote to keep Joseph, then Leah probably does as well. Because I think the other part of Leah's plan here is for Chemo to be voted out. That's who Leah has wanted out the most this week anyway. And so she would definitely keep Joseph over Chemo. And so if Chemo goes, then Leah's move in the end is pretty good for now. It's still risky. We'll get to the risk. I do see this vote, though, as like either after this week, if Joseph goes, then it's Chelsea and T-Core's game that is looking really good going into these last 5.5 weeks of the game. Because for T-Core, she gets to keep Chemo and Rubina around, which are basically 2 guaranteed jury votes for her if she makes the end. But if Joseph stays and Chemo goes, then I think it is Chelsea and Leah whose games are looking good going into these last 5.5 weeks of the season. Now, you see in that situation, Chelsea's game is good either way, because Chelsea not only plays it more smart and plays it more logical this whole time, but people also respect her game. And right now they're not necessarily trying to take her out. So I think Chelsea, regardless of what happens this week, remains in the best spot in the house. But if Chemo goes, I do think that hurts T-Core's winning chances. Not necessarily getting to the end chances, though. I think Chemo going can also help T-Core because she no longer has that duo with him, which she already doesn't have this big target because she hasn't been put up on the block yet, as you see. And yeah, she still has Rubina, so maybe people put her and Rubina on the block together and Maybe T-Core goes home over Rubina. But right now, no one's really coming for T-Core. Even though T-Core's really coming hard for Quinn, are starting to. Just another aspect of Quinn's game up in smoke. But T-Core has enough connections in the house right now where I think she's still fine for now. But I do think her winning chances are lessened if Chemo goes home before jury. And then if Joseph stays, then Leah's chances of winning if she makes the end are high because she has Joseph as a vote no matter what. And maybe still Quinn too. I mean, Quinn is upset with Leah actually. And I can't give Quinn props. I'm sorry. I just can't. Like, I want to sit here and be like, at least he tried to finally fight Leah on an issue in the HOH last night and try and get Leah not to use the veto because that was better for his game. But, like, the fact that Leah still used the veto and Quinn's still joking around with her, I can't respect any aspect of Quinn's game. The simping that Quinn and Joseph do for Leah is so pathetic. The fact that they're both doing it is crazy to me. But I mean, if they want to continue to throw their games away for her, they already have at this point. So I don't see how Quinn or Joseph win this game unless they're on the block, unless they're sitting at the end together, because they ain't winning it any other way. The only problem I do still have there's two problems I do have with this move from Leah. One is that putting this much faith into Angela is risky. The other risk is that if Leah is now on the block if Joseph stays, and if they continue to see Joseph as this person they can beat, if Leah ever finds herself on the block against Joseph or Angela, there's a very strong possibility of Leah going home over both of those two. So that is the risk in this move. But I also think the biggest risk is just doing this with Angela, because we saw what happened when Tucker used the veto on Angela, how she paid him back with trying to get him out of the game. It's been a whole season where the closer you get to Angela, the more dangerous it is for you, because Angela's paranoia will turn on you like that. So if Leah can actually keep Angela from spiraling against her, that'd be impressive, because nobody's been able to do it thus far. So that is another potential issue with this move. But overall, I like it. Much like I liked most of T-Core's maneuvering over the past 2 weeks that Twitter hated, I like Leah also playing her own game here now too. It's very risky, and it could, get her kicked out of the game if she's on the block against Angela or Joseph. Just like T-Core's game of getting out Tucker was risky because that was a shield going out from in front of her, and now one of her allies can go home. But both of them have played selfishly, and that's fine because the rest of the cast have let them get away with it. As selfish as T-Core has played, she still has not been put up on the block because her social game has made up for it. And I can agree with people that the one problem I do have with T-Core's game is that when she makes these moves, she then sits around and feels sorry for herself a little too long. And she can take a long time to kind of get to the point of what she needs to do next. But what T-Core always does is get to that point and do what's best for her game, even if it's selfish. The same thing with Leah now. I like that she's playing selfishly to make a move, to have something on her resume, to at least take a shot at winning this game. Like this move, like I said at the beginning of this video, if we look back and Leah makes the final two, she has a move that she made now. And she already has a good social game, so she can actually have a winning argument. I think Leah would actually make a better pitch to win in the end than T-Core. T-Core, if she makes the end, has to own her game, and I don't know if she will. I think Leah would. Still, though, Chelsea is the person to beat right now. I think Chelsea has the numbers to keep her safe right now, has the winning vote in the end if she's in the final two. So she's the big one you got to take out of this game to get a win. Rubina and Chemo, if he sticks around, I think they have a rough shot at winning this game. Maybe Cam the least the least hard shot of winning this game. Like, Cam is in a predicament where I feel like he can't win an HOH anytime soon because he's already kind of seen as a target. And so he wins again. He's going to be an even bigger, easy target for somebody to try and take out of the game if he's left of on the block. And that leaves who? Who am I forgetting? I'm forgetting someone. MJ. I've talked a lot of shit about MJ this season. She's fought hard to stay in the house, and that's the best thing I could say for her. There are now people MJ can beat in the end. Joseph is one of them. Angela, probably another. Maybe even Rubina. I even think she has a shot at beating Quinn. So MJ's continues her slow little rise as well. There are people she can beat in the end. But, props to Leah. That's what I got to say to end this video. I'm glad we see somebody else playing for themselves. It's the reason I like T-Core, even though she gets a lot of hate because people on Twitter are stupid. So props to Leah for also playing similarly. Play your own games. This season is a top tier season. It's no first 10 seasons of Big Brother, probably. But this is the season that has been closest to the first 10 seasons of Big Brother that I can remember. And in some ways, the actual gameplay, in my opinion, is some of the best we've seen in some aspects. The veto being used every week, the fact that nobody has made this big alliance, or are they trying to keep crumbling because there's players that want to play for themselves for once. The fact that there hasn't been any unanimous votes. I will forever shit on the producers of this show because I don't like them. But for one season, they finally got it right with giving us a type of game myself and others have wanted to see for so long. I've ranted so long on this channel about the Big Brother game and how stale it has gotten. I do feel like this season is different, and different in a good way.